Charcoal, the main source of energy for the people of Somaliland, and for a mother like Halima Ahmed, she uses it every day to cook food for her family.
I have been forced to use charcoal because I have no other alternatives to use in our country. This is the traditional fuel we have used, and we have no modern alternatives available to us.
We should ask ourselves what we should do next. What should we be doing now? I don't think that we are acting in the interest of the coming generation. We will be completely bereft of all trees not long from now.
And that is the irony of charcoal and other wood-based fuel. Despite the disastrous environmental and economic consequences, almost everyone still uses it. For cooking, to burn incense, wood fuel is also used in most restaurants and bakeries.
I started doing this when I was young in my teens. I am now 53 years old. For that long, I have been working at this and I haven't done anything else.
And for all those years, Ajuz has been using wood to bake bread daily. Despite a steady shift towards the use of electric ovens, wood-baked bread is still very popular.
They say it's tastier and it's more nutritious, so they prefer the lean, tiny bread like ours to the big, fat one like theirs.
The one prepared with charcoal is much tastier. Maybe it's because we have become accustomed to it. I don't know, we have been brought up using it.
It's widely held misconception that food or tea prepared with charcoal is tastier, and it's this attitude that have to be changed.
With 80,000 households in Hargeisa alone, that's a lot to change. In the absence of competition, charcoal is the most affordable and easily available fuel throughout Somaliland. But as each household uses some 2 to 3 bags of charcoal a month, and with each bag containing almost 2 whole trees, that's almost 1 million trees consumed every year. Vehicles of various sizes bring charcoal into the cities of Somaliland. These range from 6-ton to 18-ton capacities, carrying between 100 to 200 sacks per load.
In a month, we use about 3 loads. The small and the large-sized trucks costing differently. The large costs us 340 to 350,000 Somaliland shillings. The smaller is less costly. I have heard so much about this in the past with respect to the problems of charcoal production, but I never thought that the devastation went this far.
Since the 1960s, the forests in Somaliland have been slashed by 2/3. It is estimated that only 8 million trees remain. There is very little time left to reverse the trend. This film is the product of research carried out by Somaliland's Academy for Peace and Development. The APD team, as part of its Dialogue for Peace research, travelled across Somaliland, bringing together pastoral and urban communities, different NGOs involved in environmental interventions and government authorities to find out about natural resources-based conflict. There were workshops from Hargeisa to Irigavo and Boroma, with field trips to those areas most affected by the deforestation due to charcoal burning.
There are over 5,000 trees collected here in this pile. They are all hardwood acacia trees that are fundamental to the livelihoods of the pastoral herders.
The pastoral way of life is the mainstay of the Somaliland economy, but there have been almost no programs or policies to change the way it has been practiced for generations. This traditional way of life is at stake. The bucolic appearance of the scene can be deceptive.
Animal rearing was raised for subsistence, and in that manner the pastoral way of life was self-sufficient in the past. For food and clothing as well as shelter, they utilized products from their animals or the environment around them.
For the pastoralists, the livestock is their livelihood, but the economy is under pressure. The large herds of animals, once needed to provide for the trade abroad as well as internal consumption, continue to reproduce. Without the safety valve of an export market, the pressures on pasture land and water continue to grow.
With the advent of the animal trade, the usage of animal products for subsistence had been drastically altered to a market-oriented one. The increasing livestock numbers and the urban population density increases and shred in the new difficulties for the pastoral way of life.
The concentration of settlements around water points is also cause for the deterioration of the environment surrounding them.
The water cisterns of this village are 72. Without the berkes, the village would not have been formed. Some lie to the west and some to the east of where we stand.
Some of the best grazing in Somaliland used to be found on the Hode Plateau, an area bordering Ethiopia. While camels would normally have browsed the foliage from acacia trees and pasture on common land, as those acacias disappear, so other plants like cactus take over, and the camels as well as other animals have to adapt to a new diet. The pastoral way of life cannot sustain itself any longer because of the mass exodus of youth into urban centres and into villages around the countryside. The large numbers of unemployed youth are instrumental in the widening charcoal trade. Most hardly know other means of supporting their livelihood and that of their families save the extreme actions of overexploitation of the trees around them. The increasing numbers of enclosures is unpopular among the pastoral population, and their continuous requests have prompted local initiatives to remove them. Among the leading NGOs in this endeavour is Hargeisa, who receives assistance from DRC. The removal of enclosures in Ordwene, Boroma and other districts are enthusiastically supported, but its sustainability is often doubted.
As a chief of the village, I began to remove my enclosure. This enclosure here used to be mine. I personally led the village in the removal of the enclosures. I want people to emulate my doing. 37 others banned their enclosures, voluntarily following my example.